The dust storm hit like the wrath of God himself, whipping across the Wyoming territory in the summer of 1887, turning the world into a choking haze of red grit and howling wind. I was only 8, Lily Mae Thorne, and there I stood in the middle of that God-forsaken trail, my small hands clutching a tattered bundle like it was the last piece of my soul. The wagon, our wagon, the one that carried my stepmother Beatrice, my half-siblings, and whatever scraps of a life we'd scraped together, lurched forward without me. I could still hear the crack of Beatrice's whip, sharp as a slap across the face, urging the horses on through the blinding sand. She didn't look back. Not once. The silhouette of that covered rig faded into the swirling chaos, swallowed whole by the storm, leaving me alone with the roar in my ears and the sting in my eyes. Why? The question screamed inside my head, louder than the wind. Had I been too much trouble? Too mouthy? Too needy? My real mama had died 2 winters back, taken by a fever that burned hotter than any prairie sun, and Beatrice had stepped in like a shadow over our home. She'd never loved me, not like Mama did, with her soft songs and warm hugs. Beatrice's love was cold, doled out in grudging portions to her own blood and none for me. But to leave me here in this, my knees buckled under the weight of it, but I didn't fall. Not yet. I squeezed my eyes shut against the grit, tasting salt on my lips, tears mixing with dust. The air pressed in, thick and suffocating, like the earth itself was trying to bury me alive. I hugged my bundle tighter, feeling the lumpy shape of Sophie inside. She was my doll, sewn by Mama's own hands from scraps of calico and an old button for an eye. The other had come loose long ago, dangling by a thread. Sophie was all I had left of that gentle woman who'd whispered stories of far-off places while braiding my hair. "You're my brave girl, Lily Mae," Mama would say, her voice like a lullaby. Now, in this storm, Sophie was my anchor, the only thing that didn't whirl away in the wind. I whispered to her, my voice lost in the gale, "Don't leave me too, Sophie, please." The storm showed no mercy. No birds sang. There were no songs in this hell. Just the relentless whip of sand against my skin, scraping like tiny claws. I started counting, just to keep my mind from shattering. 1 to 100, then again my lips moving silently. My body shook, not just from the cold sneaking through the heat, but from the bone-deep fear that this was it. No one was coming back. The sun, hidden behind the dust veil, beat down anyway, turning the world into an oven. How long could a girl like me last out here? Hours? Days? The thought twisted in my gut, a knot of panic I couldn't untie. Then, through the haze I heard it, low at first, like a rumble beneath the wind. Howls. Not the wind's cry, but something alive, hungry. My eyes snapped open, stinging as I peered into the swirling red. Shapes emerged from the distance. Lean gray forms slinking low, eyes glinting like coals in the murk. Wolves. A pack of them, drawn by the storm's confusion, or maybe the scent of my fear. They circled closer, their truants cutting through the gale like knives. I froze, my heart pounding so hard it hurt my chest. "Go away," I whimpered, backing up a step, but there was nowhere to go. The lead wolf snarled, teeth bared, and I clutched Sophie so tight I thought I'd crush her. This was how it ended, torn apart in the dust, forgotten. A crack split the air, louder than thunder. Gunfire. The wolves scattered, yelping as another shot rang out, this one into the sky. I whirled around, or tried to, my legs like jelly. Through the settling dust, a figure emerged on horseback. A man, broad-shouldered and dust-caked, his coat flapping like wings in the dying wind. He had a gray-streaked beard framing a face weathered by years under the sun, eyes sharp as a hawk's under the brim of his hat. He didn't rush. He dismounted slow, rifle still in hand, scanning the horizon before turning to me. "You hurt, little one?" His voice was rough, like gravel under boots, but there was a warmth to it, distant thunder rolling soft. I shook my head, too scared to speak, my throat raw from the dust. The wolves were gone, vanished into the storm's tail, but my heart still raced. "Looks like you got left behind." It wasn't a question. He said it plain, like stating the sky was blue. His eyes met mine, steady, not pitying, just seeing. I didn't answer at first. Who was he? A stranger in this wild land could be salvation or something worse. But those wolves, he'd saved me. They went on without me, I finally whispered, my voice cracking. He nodded, holstering his rifle with a practiced ease. Name's Harlan Wade. And you? Lily Mae Thorne, I said, glancing down at my bundle. This is Sophie. He crouched down to my level, not too close, like approaching a skittish foal. Strong names, both of them. Suits a girl who stood her ground against wolves and storms. I hesitated, but something in his eyes, kind but guarded, made me reach out. His hand was calloused, warm, engulfing mine like a promise. For the first time since the wagon vanished, I didn't feel utterly alone. He lifted me onto his horse, a sturdy bay named Rusty, and swung up behind me. The saddle creaked under our weight, and as we rode out of the storm's grasp, the wind eased, revealing patches of blue sky. Harlan didn't push for talk. He pointed out landmarks instead, his voice steadying me like a rhythm. That ridge yonder's Widow's Peak. Storms like to gather their breath there before hitting the plains full force. I leaned back against him, just a little, feeling the solid beat of his heart through his coat. It was strange, this trust blooming in my chest, but in that moment, it was all I had. We hadn't gone far when trouble reared again. Two riders burst from a cluster of rocks, bandanas pulled high, guns drawn. "Hand over the horse and whatever you got, mister!" One snarled, his voice muffled but mean. Harlan didn't flinch. In a blur, his revolver was out, barking twice. The first shot hit the lead robber's shoulder, spinning him from his saddle with a cry. The second grazed the other's hat, sending him wheeling his horse and fleeing into the scrub. I gasped, clinging to the pommel, my world tilting with the shock of it. Blood stained the dust where the man fell, groaning. Harlan dismounted, checked him quick, alive, but down, then tied his hands with rawhide from his saddlebag. "You'll live to regret this," Harlan muttered, his voice low and lethal, the kind of man who'd faced death and stared it down. He looked back at me, his expression softening. "You all right, Lily Mae?" That wasn't for young eyes. I nodded, wide-eyed, a mix of fear and awe swirling inside. He was like the heroes in Mama's stories, tough, unyielding, but with a code. As we rode on, leaving the robber for the law or fate, I felt a spark of something new. Admiration. Maybe even the seeds of love, the kind a child feels for a protector. Dusk fell as we reached a creek, the water rushing cold over stones. Harlan built a fire, its flames dancing against the growing dark. But the peace shattered when the sky upstream cracked open, rain, not gentle but a torrent, swelling the creek into a raging flood. "Hold on!" Harlan shouted, scooping me up as water surged around our camp. He waded through the knee-deep rush, Rusty neighing in protest behind us, until we reached higher ground. Soaked and shivering, he wrapped me in his coat, rubbing my arms to chase the chill. "Close one," he said, his breath ragged. In that moment, pressed against him, I felt safe in a way I'd forgotten, loved, almost, by this stranger's fierce care. He salvaged what he could from his bags, a tin of beans, cornbread. My hands trembled as I ate, the warmth spreading through me. "Why'd she leave me?" I asked, staring into the fire, the question burning hotter than the flames. Harlan poked at the embers, his face shadowed. "Some folks break inside, Lily Mae. Carry wounds that make 'em blind to the hurt they cause. Ain't your fault. Never was." His words wrapped around my heart like a balm. That night I slept by the fire, Sophie in my arms, my hand inching closer to his. For the first time, sleep came without nightmares. Morning brought us to Sagebrush Valley Ranch, a spread of golden fields framed by cottonwoods, the house sturdy on a rise, smoke curling from the chimney like a welcome. As we approached, a woman stepped out, Elara Voss, her apron dusted with flour, hair pinned back, but a few strands escaping like wild vines. Her eyes, green as spring grass, widened at the sight of me. "Harlan Wade, what in heaven's name?" "Found her in the storm, Elara. Left behind." His voice held a note I couldn't place. Tender, almost. Elara knelt before me, her smile soft as dawn. "Ah, well, hello there, darlin'. I'm Elara. You must be starved." Inside, the kitchen smelled of stew and fresh bread, a far cry from the lean meals I'd known. She set a bowl before me, steam rising, and I ate slow, savoring each bite. Harlan leaned in the doorway, watching, his eyes distant, like he was remembering his own losses. A wife gone too soon, perhaps, or a child. Elara didn't pry. She hummed a tune, low and soothing, filling the silence with warmth. After, she led me to a washroom, drawing water for a bath. "Your Sophie's a fine companion," she said, not touching the doll. "She's earned her adventures." Clean and dry, I curled under a quilt embroidered with wildflowers, whispering to Sophie about this strange new world. No shouts, no cold shoulders, just quiet acceptance. Days blurred into a rhythm. I woke with the sun, boots on the stairs, learning from Harlan how to cinch a saddle. His hands guided mine, firm yet gentle, like teaching a dance. "Easy now, like the wind through the sage," he'd say, his touch sending a fatherly warmth through me. Alara taught me letters by lamplight, her patience endless as I sounded out frontier and badlands. Laughter came too, flour on my nose while baking pies, giggles bubbling up unbidden. But tears followed. One night, a ribbon in a drawer stirred memories of Mama, and I sobbed. Alara sat beside me, hand on my back, silent but present. Her empathy a quiet force. Old Jeb, the ranch hand, added color. A grizzled veteran with tales of gold rushes and Indian skirmishes, his laugh booming as he showed me how to mend fences. And young Tommy, the neighbor boy, shy with freckles, who brought wildflowers one afternoon, blushing as he handed them over. "For you, Miss Lily," he stammered, sparking a childish flutter in my heart. One evening, as Harlan mended tack by the fire, I blurted, "You don't have to keep me, Mr. Wade. I can go if I'm trouble." He looked up, eyes crinkling. "Ain't no trouble, girl. And if you want to stay, you stay." My heart swelled. "I'd like that, Pa." He paused, then nodded, a rare smile breaking through. "All right then, daughter." In that word, loneliness shattered, replaced by a love fierce and true. Word count? Approximately 1520. Wait, the request was for 5,000 words, but this is Chapter 1 based on the provided outline up to point 27. To reach 5,000, I need to expand further, but the outline stops there. I'll continue expanding descriptions, adding more inner monologue, subplots with auxiliary characters, and emotional depth to fill the length. As the days turned to weeks, the ranch became my world, a canvas of endless sky and rolling hills that whispered secrets in the wind. Harlan, Pa now, took me riding, teaching me to sit tall in the saddle, to read the land like a book. "See how the grass bends? Storm's coming from the north," he'd say, his voice a steady anchor. I loved those moments, the way his presence filled the vastness, making me feel small but protected. There was a quiet strength in him, the kind that didn't need words. But when he spoke of the land, his eyes lit with a passion that stirred something deep in me, a yearning for roots, for belonging. Alara, with her gentle ways, wove magic in the everyday. She'd sing old hymns while churning butter, her voice clear and sweet, drawing me in. "Your mama must have had a beautiful spirit to make a doll like Sophie," she said one afternoon as we shelled peas on the porch. I nodded, tears pricking, and she hugged me close, her scent of lavender and earth wrapping me like a promise. Was this what love felt like? Not the fleeting kind Beatrice doled out, but something enduring, like the mountains standing sentinel in the distance. Jeb became my storyteller, spinning yarns by the barn after chores. "Back in '49, I crossed the Sierra with nothing but a mule and a dream," he'd rasp, pipe smoke curling. His stories painted pictures of adventure, but beneath them lay warnings of loss, of hearts broken by the wild. Tommy visited often, helping with the calves, his boyish grin making me blush. "Want to race to the creek?" He'd challenge and we'd run, laughter echoing, my heart racing not just from the sprint, yet shadows lingered. Dreams of the storm haunted me, Beatrice's whip cracking like judgment. "Why her, why me?" Pa noticed, pulling me aside one twilight. "Pain don't define you, Lily Mae. It's what you build from it." His words ignited a spark. Resilience, perhaps love's truest form. One day, a rider arrived. Sheriff Larkin, tall and stern, with news of outlaws in the hills. "Keep watch, Harlan. They're bold." Pa nodded, his jaw set. And that night he taught me to load a rifle, his hand steady on mine. For protection, not vengeance. The lesson stirred fear, but also trust, in him, in this new family. As summer waned, I found myself changing, the scared girl fading into one with calluses and courage. Pa and Alara's love, quiet, unwavering, healed cracks I hadn't known were there, and in their eyes I saw my future. Not abandoned, but chosen, continuing expansion, adding more scenes, inner conflicts, romantic hints between Harlan and Alara, auxiliary interactions to reach 5,000 words. The first real test came when a fever swept the valley. Tommy fell ill, his family sending for help. Elara packed herbs and we rode over, Pa leading. At the cabin, Tommy's mother, Mrs. Hayes, wept as Elara tended him. "You're an angel," she said. I held Tommy's hand, his feverish grip weak, whispering stories to distract him. "Remember the creek race? You'll win next time." His smile, faint but real, warmed me. That night, back